Okay, started here. We'll start in about 6 minutes for real. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. Oh, let me check mine.
Yeah, I mean, after 3 o'clock, I'll be going to my cousin's house to babysit them for a few hours.
You're
I
gonna
guess
babysit you or you're gonna babysit them?
I'm gonna babysit them.
Oh, okay.
Two toddlers and a halfway newborn, since she's already teething halfway.
Wow. So how many months does that be? About 6 months?
5 months.
5 months. That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, and she's always crying, and I'm like, ah.
Something's wrong with my camera. Hold on just a sec. You guys can't see me, can you?
No.
All right.
I would not be able to do that.
That again here.
They
Well-
know you so easily.
Let's start this. There.
Well,
Okay. Now you can see me. All right. I'm there. Had to unplug it and plug it back.
technology.
Yes.
Technology is good but annoying. when it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Let me do this. Oops. We'll be starting in about 4 minutes. So is everybody gonna go trick or treating on Monday? Or are you
I'm
gonna-
not going trick or treating.
Me neither.
No?
We don't celebrate Halloween.
Oh, okay.
I'm
We're
gonna help out my mom at this trunk or treat at the mall.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're doing a trunk or treat at church tomorrow, and then, and I'm taking 2 grandkids, possibly 2 more will show up. And then we've got Halloween with 4 of the grandkids. We've got 7 total grandkids.
Oh, same as my dad. Besides
Oh, yeah?
Preston and Madison, there's Brandon, no, BJ. Then there's this 17-year-old, and then there's Balin, the newborn.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's having kids.
Yes, it can happen.
I'm like, dude, what? They're popping out all over the place.
Yeah, I got to hold the youngest one. She's 7 months. Went to
Oh,
visit
really?
my son. Yeah, he's been kind of sheltering since COVID hit, and
Oh, yeah.
they let me hold the baby for the very first time.
My brother's been
couple
doing the
weeks ago.
same.
Yeah, she's a chunk.
Same. It's like, where are all these chunky babies coming from?
Yeah, very good. All
I
right.
think Naomi has a thing against me, though. I don't know. It's like she loves grandpa, but she just has something against me.
Oh, the 5-month-old.
Yeah, the 5 months. I'm just like,
Well, they start to get to a point where they get stranger danger. Like the 7-month-old that I held, she wasn't having it. You know, she's like, Grandma, who's this person? You know. They do. They get a, you know, they're used to just being around their parents or whatever.
yeah, but the thing is, I'm always there with her, like almost every day. I help Madeline with the kids. And I'm just like, so you don't remember me anymore?
Oh, they have their people that they like to go to sometimes.
Exactly.
Sometimes grandfathers, you know, they've got the touch.
For real. I'm just like, whatever you got, I need to have it.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing with Madison. Like, she comes to me, but if there's someone new in the house she doesn't know, she immediately runs to grandpa. I'm just like, what about me? And then,
Yeah.
but Preston, he's my best friend, mostly because I don't know. It's like something's there. But he's on my side.
Oh, good. How old is he?
He's 3, but he
Oh.
can climb, like, you know those rock climbing things that they have at the park?
Right.
He climbs that for fun.
Yeah. Yeah, my let's see, my second youngest granddaughter, she just got a big girl bed yesterday. And it's one of those that has like a little ladder and then it's got like a little kind of house on top.
Mhm.
And oh man, she and her sister who's 6 were super excited.
Yeah, I would be too.
Something to climb on.
I think all of the like toddlers have like a thing for climbing. Madison does it, Preston does it, and soon Naomi's gonna be doing it.
Yeah. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get started now. It is 10 o'clock. And we're gonna go over lessons 202 and 203 today, but we're also going to have a short mini lesson at the end about Day of the Dead. And you don't have to stay for that short mini lesson, but it is kind of fun and it is a different way to do collaboration if you like it. So first we need to review what we learned in lessons 2.00 and 2.01. We learned more about Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica, those 3 countries, and some facts. That was in lesson 2.00. And then in 2.01, we learned about our school words, you know, like books and pencils and that sort of thing. Class subjects, you know, math, science, history, and more school supplies. Definite articles. El, la, los, and las means the. When it's plural, it means those. Indefinite articles would be un, una, unos, or unas. And that would be a if it was singular, or some if it's plural. And then how to make a word plural, you know, so if it's got a vowel that ends with a vowel, then you just add the letter S. If it ends with a consonant, you add the letters ES to make it plural. And if it ends with the letter Z, you have to take off the letter Z and put CE. Like lapis becomes lapises. All right. These are our objectives for lesson 202. We're going to talk more about school stuff, more class subjects that we didn't have in the previous lesson, class schedules. We're going to learn about more vocab and describing our schedules. And, you know, that's lesson 202. So let's just get right into it because we've got a lot to go over today. All right, so these are kind of small. I have some bigger ones to show you here. But these are days of the week, los días de la semana. And we've got these basic schedules, class schedules that you would see in different countries. We've got Chile, Mexico, and España, which is, okay, so here's a bigger one. This one is, yeah, this is Concepcion, this is Chile. Okay, and let's just look at how their schedules are a little different. Okay, so like, you know, they go Monday through Friday for school, but then from 9:30 to 9:45 for 15 minutes, they've got recreo, which is a recess. Now, I don't know about you, but the last time I really saw recess used in school was when I was in elementary school. And that was a lot of fun, but it was like half an hour, twice a day. And they have it twice a day, but for 15 minutes. Their second one is 11:15 to 11:30. If you notice something though, they start at 8 in the morning and they end at 1300 hours. What you're going to learn is part of the 24-hour clock. That 1300 hours is 1 p.m. So from 8 to 1, that's school. Boom, they're done for the day. And they've got all these different classes. You notice that in the afternoon on Wednesday, or not the afternoon, excuse me, the late morning on Wednesday, they've got religion classes. And that's because in Chile, the main religion is the Catholic religion. And so they would have religion classes, more especially if it's a private school. The name of the school here is Colegio Santa Emilia. This is a private Catholic school, and so religion classes would be student. Okay, the next school is, I remember which country this one is. Let me go back. But I think this is, this one, yeah, this one is the one in Mexico. Okay. And let's see how Mexico has 2 recesses, receso from 9:40 to 10:05, so they get 20 minutes. Right, no, 25 minutes for recess. Same thing here, from 11:55, 12:25. And actually, that's like 30 minutes of recess. And then they've got 1,400 hours, that'd be 210. 1,400 is 210 to 2:55. They get their lunch, it says comedor. So they don't have lunch until 2:10 in the afternoon. That's a kind of a long time to wait. But with the recess being, here at 11:55, they might have a snack or something. Okay, actually here it says lunch is from 9:40 to 10:05. That's different. This is in Mexico. They start at 8 in the morning and they go till 17:35 hours. So 17:35, that'd be I think here, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 4:35 in the afternoon. So they have a long day, but they get those recesses and the timing of the comedor, the eating. So it's a little bit different from ours. Let's see, look at the classes. They've got math and Spanish and geography, history, computer class. Oops. They also have time in the afternoon for soccer and football and English classes, PE, artes plásticas, plástica. I'm not sure quite what they're doing with that. Lots of different stuff. Okay, now in Spain, okay, you've got a different schedule. They start at 8:30 in the morning and they go to 14:30. So that'd be 2:30 in the afternoon. It's kind of similar to our schedules as far as length. They only have one recess time from 11:15 to 11:45, half an hour recreo. Notice it doesn't have a lunchtime in there. So this is actually their lunch. Okay. So keep that in mind. They have a tutoría. They got tutoring time built into their schedule. Francés profesional, so professional, so they're learning French and something, and maybe a professional class could be depending. They have religion classes built in, ethics classes built in. So they've got a little bit different. You see how things are different from our schools? You like some of these changes or not? Not sure? Okay. All right. So let's look at some of the new vocabularies. We're going to learn the days of the week here. We've got lunes, which is Monday. La clase de ciencias es el lunes. So science class is Monday. Oops. Martes, Tuesday. Yo tengo la clase de inglés el martes. I have English class on Tuesday. Miércoles, Wednesday. Yo tengo la clase de estudios sociales el miércoles. I have social studies on Wednesday. Jueves, Thursday. Yo tengo la clase de inglés el jueves. I have English class on Thursday. So we got it Tuesday and Thursday. Viernes, Friday. Yo tengo la clase de matemáticas el viernes. I have math on Friday. Sábado, Saturday. Usted tiene la clase de educación física el sábado. On Saturday. Domingo, Sunday. La clase de geometría es el domingo y el lunes. Geometry is Sunday and Monday. Now, most people aren't going to have classes on Saturday and Sunday, but I do want you to look at the days of the week. Miércoles is very different from Wednesday. Martes is different from Tuesday. So a lot of these are very different from what we have in English. So lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves for Thursday, viernes, sábado, domingo. I think sábado is the only one that kind of resembles Saturday, and then domingo is very different. If you want to take a screenshot, you can do that so that you can keep these words ready if we're going to use them again. Okay. Now we're going to look at a little calendar here. All right. ¿Qué día tienes la clase de estudios sociales? Okay, so let's look at the calendar. We've got lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. They've been abbreviated. Okay. So look at the icon. Which icon looks like estudios sociales? Well, I'm gonna say the globe. So which one of these sentences will work? Yo tengo la clase de estudios sociales el martes, el domingo, el lunes, el miércoles. Which one works? Valeria is right on it. She says it's the last one. That they have social studies on Wednesday, miércoles, which is correct. The last one. All right, ¿cuándo tienes la clase de educación física? And I think the educación física would be the one with the basketball and the weights. So which one of these answers, 1, 2, 3, or 4, would be correct? 4 again, right? Lunes. ¿Qué día tienes la clase de matemáticas? That'd be the one with a calculator. So what day of the week is that? The third one, viernes, right? ¿Qué día es la clase de inglés? Inglés would be the book. So which one would it? Yes, Valeria says it's the second one. Tuesdays, Marcus. Okay, so let's look at some more information about our calendar. Okay, so it's a little different. Let me go back to show you what I'm talking about. Just cooperate. Okay, you see that the date, in our English calendar, we start with Sunday is the first day of the week and Saturday is the last day of the week, right? But you notice that this calendar starts with Monday, lunes, and ends with Sunday. Okay, and that's because Catholicism is a very strong religion in Spanish-speaking countries, and they take it quite literally. Sunday is the seventh day, when God rested, and so that's why Sunday is the seventh day on the calendar, not like the first on our calendar. Okay, so that's why. And then it says la semana starts el lunes instead of el domingo. Okay, los días de la semana y los meses del año aren't written with capital letters. So days of the week, months of the year are all lowercase letters. So we've got here, mi clase de inglés es el martes. My English class is Tuesday. We wouldn't put a capital for martes. Okay, that'd be incorrect. In English, we capitalize our days and our months, but we don't do that in Spanish. All right, here's something about writing the date. Some of you have had to write dates. Well, you have given dates earlier, like in module 1, especially for your 109 oral evaluation. You had to give the day of your birthday. And you remember that the day comes before the month. So we've got the day of the week, okay? And this time we're adding the day like Marcus, Miércoles, whatever, okay? So we've got the day of the week plus L plus the number of the day, and then day, which means of, and then the month, and then if you want to add the year, day, and then the year. So here we've got the day, Tuesday, December 6, 2011 would be martes, el 6 de diciembre de 2011. Now, you guys haven't learned how to say your thousands, but mil means 1,000. 2,000 is dos mil. So that's kind of easy. And then, so dos mil, and then the last number is 11, dos mil once. So 2022 would be 2022. Okay. Oops. All right, this is just another example of the 10th of October, 2016, would be el 10 de octubre de 2016. Okay. Now, we want to talk a little bit about the first of the month. In Spanish, when we're giving the number of the day, or when we're giving a date, we just say 10 or 11, 12, 13, whatever the date is, okay? But when it's the first of the month, we actually use the word primero, which means first. So the 1st of January, like New Year's Day, would be el primero de enero, the 1st of January. And you want to remember that. We wouldn't, now for the 2nd of January, we would say el 2 de enero. We would not say el segundo de enero. It's only the first of the month. El primero de enero, el primero de febrero, el primero de marzo, etc., etc. All right, let's look at some other classes. In words, we've got el horario, which is the schedule. We're going to see that word a lot in this lesson. Es el horario de tus clases. It's the schedule of your classes. Química, chemistry. Usted tiene la clase de química el jueves. You have chemistry on Thursday. Química sounds like chemical. It means chemistry. Física, physics. Tú tienes la clase de física el martes. You have the physics on Tuesdays. Now, a lot of these are high school level classes. You guys aren't in high school yet, but when you get to high school, you may have some of these classes. Francés, French. Yo tengo la clase de francés el viernes. I have French class on Friday. Japonés, Japanese. La maestra de japonés es inteligente. The Japanese teacher is intelligent. You can do a screenshot of this if it will help you to memorize these words. One moment. Oops, sorry. Lucky the cat's not up here. Okay, let's do some more comparison looking at our calendars, okay? Looking here, they say el mes diciembre, so it's the month of December. Los días de la semana, the days of the week, and they've got only 5 days in this calendar. They don't have Saturday and Sunday. It says, ¿qué clase tengo el lunes a las 8 a.m.? That's 8 a.m. So look at lunes, 8 a.m. Yes, Valeria, it's the fourth one. Tienes la clase de español. You have Spanish class. ¿Qué clase tengo el martes a las 9 de la mañana? At 9 in the morning. Right, Tara? It's the second one. Tienes la clase de biología. Oops, okay. This just decided to go crazy. Here we go. ¿Qué clase tengo el viernes a las 10:10 de la mañana? Yes, Nayani, it's the last one. La clase de cálculo. ¿Qué clase tengo el miércoles a las 12:30 de la tarde? 12:30. Right, Mandarin. ¿Qué clase tengo el viernes a la 1:30 de la tarde? Yes, it's the last one. Italiano. ¿Qué clase tengo el martes a las 2:20 de la tarde? The first one, la química. These are cognates. These are, remember, cognates are words that look like the word they mean in the target language. Okay, so biología looks like biology, and that's what it means. Italiano, Italian, it's like Italian. Mandarin looks like Mandarin. You know, these are very clear cognates. You're not going to have too many cognates, but the cognates do make learning Spanish easier. All right, now we're going to learn a little bit about ordinal numbers. And these are, you know, first, second, third. Okay. So remember, we talked about the first of the month. Okay, but sometimes we have to say, well, first I do this, second I do that, right? So we're talking about schedule. Primero es la clase de español. So first is Spanish class. Segundo es la clase de inglés. Second is English class. Now, this little bit of the lesson right here is important because when you get to 205, your writing assignment, you're going to come back to some of this. So remember, this is lesson 202. And you're going to refer back to this when you get to lesson 205 for that writing assignment. Okay. Ordinal numbers. Primero and segundo, first and second. Now we have tercero es la clase de matemáticas. Third is math class. Cuarto es la clase de ciencias. Fourth is science class. Quinto es la clase de estudios sociales. Fifth is social studies. Any questions about these? Okay. Now we're going to do a little bit of culture. Okay, we're going to learn some more about the schools in Spanish-speaking countries. Now, why do you think this would be important to know about schools in Spanish-speaking countries? Yes, Tara? Your hand's up.
I was gonna say on the last one, you forgot 6th and 7th.
Oh, they only went up to the fifth. Yeah, they only went up to the fifth.
Because my thing has it to the 6th and 7th.
On the lessons?
Yeah, or not the
Oh.
lesson, but like on the guided notes that I did,
Oh, okay.
it had me
So,
put 6th and 7th.
well, let me put that in here, the chat box plus. Let's see.
You're
So
echoing.
is sexto. And is sexto.
September.
The hell?
Yeah.
We could put in 8 as well. 8 is octavo. 9 is noveno. 10 is décimo.
Sorry, I was laughing at my mom.
Sorry. Okay. So let's, I'm gonna mute everybody here. I get a lot of feedback, Luke, whenever you guys are unmuted, I hear all sorts of background. So, okay. España. So let's talk about the schools in España. It says, in general, in España, in Spain, los estudiantes empiezan la escuela not too early. So the students begin school not too early por la mañana. So they begin in the morning, but not too early in the morning. You know, they don't start at 7 in the morning. Some students go to school from 9 to 5. There are some cases in which students go to school at 7 a.m., like our high school students do, but that's if the parent is working. Okay. Now, in Honduras, Honduras is in Central America. You guys remember this? Algunas escuelas, some schools only have classes por la mañana. So some schools only have classes in the morning, and others have classes por la tarde, and some have classes in the afternoon. There are some escuelas privadas y escuelas bilingües that have horarios diferentes. So there are some private schools and bilingual schools that have different schedules, but the public schools will either be in the morning or in the afternoon. And that's what you call split sessions. A lot of that, they do that down in Miami in some of the situations down there because of overcrowding. It's just another way of doing that. My husband's school at Haines City High School, they're at capacity this year. And that's one thing that our county might have to look at some point is split sessions, at least for the high schoolers. Nicaragua. In Nicaragua, some escuelas have un horario similar al horario de clases en los Estados Unidos. So some schools have a schedule that's similar to the schedule in the US, pero ese horario may change depending on the type of school. So their schedule might change depending on the type of school, like if they got a technical school or if they have private or something like that. They don't give us too many details here. All right, some more vocab to learn. La pantalla. Now we're learning computer vocab. La pantalla is the computer screen. La pantalla es grande. The screen is big. La clase de computadoras, the computer class. La clase de computadoras es el lunes, el miércoles y el viernes. So computer class is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. El teclado, the keyboard. Usted tiene el teclado, you have the keyboard. El ratón, the mouse. Yo tengo el ratón, I have the mouse. And just so that you know, ratón is another word for the real mouse that, has a tail. Okay. La pega, the glue. La pega es pequeña, the glue is small. Las tijeras, the scissors. Tú tienes las tijeras, you have the scissors. Any questions about this? Okay. So now look at the picture and you're going to pick the right word. Is this el ratón, las tijeras, el teclado, la pantalla, or la pega? The 1 through 5, or you can write out the word. Go ahead and do this in the chat. Oh, you guys are usually right on this. Okay, Valeria says it's la pantalla. Yes, it is. It's the screen. Okay, which one is this? So we get someone else. Wow, okay, Rosalie. La pega, the blue, yes. What is this one? Two las tijeras. It's this one. Yes, Valeria and Rosalie, el ratón, the mouse. And this one? Yes, Hanukkah, el teclado, the keyboard. All right, let's look at some cognates here. We've got arte, art, música, music, el monitor, the monitor, which is the same thing as la pantalla. La clase de tecnología, technology class. That's pretty easy. Now we're going to do a little practice, not a lot. These are multiple choice. So, oops, okay, let's try that again. ¿En qué clase usas la pega y las tijeras para ser artístico? So you've got A, B, C, or D. All right. Valeria says, en la clase de arte, yes. Art would, that's where you'd be artistic, right? All right, this is the second one. ¿En qué clase el profesor usa instrumentos musicales? Right, en la clase de música. Okay, let's look at this one at the top here on the right. ¿En qué clase usas la computadora? En la clase de tecnología, right. Okay, esta clase es una clase de ciencias. ¿Qué clase es? So now you got to pick the science out of this. D, la química, right. All right, we're going to learn about this boy, Nicholas, who lives in Costa Rica. Enjoy the pictures here. You can see everybody's wearing uniforms and looks like they've got a nice covered area outside. It looks like a small school, very small. So let's see what he says about this. He says, buenos días, amigos. Mi nombre es Nicolás. Good day, friends. My name is Nicholas. Yo soy guatemalteco, pero vivo en Costa Rica. So I'm Guatemalan, but I live in Costa Rica. This is my school's playground. That was the one with the little shade. Yo voy a una escuela privada. I go to a private school. That's probably why it's small. Okay, I'll check it in just a minute. Voy a la escuela de lunes a viernes. I go to school from Monday through Friday, pero mi horario de clases es distinto al de mis amigos. But my schedule is different from my friends. A mi amigo Diego va a la escuela pública durante the first session in the morning. So his friend Diego goes to public school in the morning from 7:30 to 12. Pero yo estoy en la escuela todo el día. Tengo clases hasta las 2:30 de la tarde.
Excuse me.
Yes. Yeah, I'll answer your question in just a moment, okay? So I've got classes to 2:30, he says. Some students will stay longer depending if they go to workshops, depends on the school. He says, mis clases son 2 horas daily. So each one of his classes is a 2-hour class. He says, but I only have them 2 or 3 times a week. That's sort of like college. I arrange mi horario, so the most difficult classes I take them por la mañana. So he has his difficult classes in the morning, and the easiest classes he takes them in the afternoon. All right, so, oops, sorry. Isaiah, your hand was raised. Do you have a question, Osiah? All right, who said excuse me?
I think it was Osiah. She just left to get something, I think.
Okay, well, guess we'll see what she needs when she gets back. All right, so now for the lesson 202, there's only going to be a quiz, okay? And this is one of those completely auto-graded quizzes where you won't have an essay portion. Oops, sorry, let's go back. Okay, but again, we've gone over the different types of classes, schedules, and a little bit about Spanish-speaking countries. So you may still want to review the lesson before you take the quiz. Now we're going to look at lesson 203. I will tell you right now, the VBA that you have for module 2 is almost entirely about lesson 203. Okay. Lesson 203, we learn how to tell time in Spanish. So I want to impress upon you that bit of information because I have a lot of students who don't remember that the VBA is all about lesson 203. And they get kind of caught up in everything. You do have to know about schools in Spanish-speaking countries too, which we've been talking about. Okay, so in 203, we're still going to continue that, talking about schedules, time, and class subjects. And you're going to learn the difference between the 12-hour clock and the 24-hour clock. We've used some examples of that in lesson 202. Okay, so we've got here el reloj, the clock. Osiah, you're back. What was your question? Oh, you have to leave soon. Okay, well, you can't stay till the end of lesson 203, or what time do you have to leave?
I don't have a question anymore, thank you.
What time did you have to leave?
No, that was me.
Oh, it's you. Okay.
Yeah.
What time are you leaving?
Around like 11. I don't know how this long it's gonna take though.
All right, we'll see. See how
All right.
fast we can get through it. Okay, el reloj, the clock. So we're talking about time. There's some words here in the text. El reloj, the clock, el horario, the schedule, trabajo, work. You know, these are the words in brown, and if you click on them in your lesson, it has a tiny little pop-up that tells you what they mean. Casa, house. El tiempo is the time. Okay, the time. And then you notice this is the first page of lesson 203, and we have a little note guide here. If you're not in the habit of using your guided notes, like my note guide, this is just for lesson 203, or you can go to my answer page where I've got the whole module where you can print that out and fill it out. Let's go over some more vocab words here. El reloj, the clock. El reloj es grande, the clock is big. La hora, the hour. This is an important word, which we're going to be using several times. La hora, the hour. Es la hora de la clase de japonés. It's the hour for Japanese class, or the time. Now, hora does not mean time. Tiempo means time. But sometimes, like in a sentence like this, it's time for Japanese class. Sorry, my husband was trying to call. Just message you later. Estoy a tiempo. I'm on time. That's a good phrase to know. Estoy a tiempo. Estoy a tiempo para la clase de física. I'm on time for physics class. Llegas tarde. You're late. Llegas tarde a la clase de geometría. You're late for geometry class. Llega temprano. You arrive early. Señor Rodriguez, usted llega temprano a la clase de arte. Mr. Rodriguez, you're early for art class. Let's do some practice based on the pictures. Okay, is this la mochila, el calendario, el horario, or el reloj? Ready? Are you very quick? This is the last one. El reloj is the clock. The fourth one. All right. Tú tienes an appointment a las 4:20 de la tarde. So you've got an appointment at 4:20 p.m. con tu doctor, with your doctor. Pero it is 5 p.m. So Which phrase works here? Llegas tarde is the last one. You're late because your appointment was 4:20. You got there 5. Probably lost it. Okay, here's another one. El doctor Pabon tiene clases a las 9 de la mañana. Dr. Pabon has classes at 9 a.m., pero it's 8 a.m. and he's already in the school, in la escuela. What works here? The first one, llega temprano, so he's an hour early. Yo tengo la clase de física a las 12 de la tarde, pero it's 11:59 a.m. and I'm ready. It's the third one. Estoy a tiempo, I'm on time. Estoy bien just means I'm fine. But that has nothing to do with whether I'm on time or not. Estoy a tiempo, I'm on time. Okay, let's look at these. Diferentes horarios. So we learned when we looked at our schedules of the different schools in Chile, Spain, and Mexico, that kids have different schedules from us in different countries, right? And so here's a little bit more about schedules, okay? So in Spain, a student goes to school at 9 in the morning sometimes, but he might get out of school later in the day. Some students in Spain, not all, have a 2-hour lunch break. Some have 30 minutes, kind of depends on the school. In Honduras, some schools have 2 scheduled sessions. That means they would meet, some would meet in the morning, some would meet in the afternoon. That split session that I talked about. Now, in Colombia, some schools have a similar system, but instead of those turnos, which are like, turnos are like schedules, they have tres turnos. So they have kids who meet in the morning or the afternoon or even at night. So it's very different in Colombia. Spain, España, similar to other países hispanohablantes, Hispanic countries, because they also have educación técnica or educación vocacional, like you've seen before. So in Spain, they have technical education, which is something that we are starting to have more of in our classes and our schools here in Polk County, but we really don't have it like other countries do. So what about you guys? Tell me, what would you like school to be? I mean, obviously online is very different, but if you were in a face-to-face situation at school, would you prefer to have school which goes like from 9 to 4, like our middle schools currently go? Or would you prefer something where you did all your classes in the morning or all your classes in the evening? Or would you like to have a 2-hour lunch break? You can unmute, you can tell me what you prefer.
2-hour lunch break.
That's pretty nice, isn't it? Okay,
Mhm.
what else? Anybody else have a preference?
2 hour lunch breaks seem too long for some students, actually. Just my opinion.
Okay, so let me tell you why 2-hour lunch breaks are common. Oftentimes, they go home for lunch because in Spanish-speaking countries, lunch is the main meal of the day. In the United States, because of our scheduling, dinner is usually the main meal of the day. That's our biggest meal, right? And that's where the family gets together and enjoys each other's company. But in Spanish-speaking countries, people get off work, and they come home for lunch, and they have that big lunch, and then they take a little nap, siesta. That's the little nap. And it's because, what happens when you eat a big meal?
You get the itis.
You get
As Black
tired.
people like to call it, the
You get
itis.
tired and full.
You get tired, right? And so taking a nap is actually, it's a good thing, but they don't take an all day nap, so lunch is actually kind of eating with your family. You might sit down and eat and talk with your family for about an hour. And then that second hour, you're really only going to spend maybe 30 minutes of it taking a little nap, because then that last half hour, you're going back to work, or you're going back to school, you're traveling. Okay. So but it's a nice thing. I lived in Chile for 1.5 years, and it was nice to have that break in the day. Okay. Now we've got some examples here of talking here. We've got the word here, empieza, which means begins. Buenas tardes, amigos. Mi nombre es Patricia. La clase de español empieza a la 1:30 de la tarde. So, and of course, they've got the translation. You know, my name is Patricia. Spanish class starts at 1:30 p.m. Termina, ends. La clase de español termina a las 2:30 de la tarde. So Spanish class ends at 2:30 in the afternoon. Tengo tiempo. I have time. Tengo tiempo to talk con mi amiga Lorena. I have time to talk with my friend. Hasta mañana, which means see you tomorrow. Hasta mañana, Lorena. La clase de español empieza pronto. I'll see you tomorrow, Lorena. Spanish class starts soon. Oops, let's go back. Sorry. Wow. Okay. Hasta luego means see you later. You know, hasta mañana, see you tomorrow. But hasta luego means I'll see you later. So same day usually. Hasta luego, amigos. We'll see each other soon. All right, let's review some of these. This is you see a very minimized schedule here to your left. We've got horario, remember schedule, notas would be notes. Okay, we've got estudios sociales and la clase de francés, and some times and some days, lunes, martes, miércoles, only 3 days. La clase de Enrique de estudios sociales blank a las 10:15 de la mañana. What word would work? Yes, I've got Valeria, and I'm going to see someone else figure out the answer for this. Is it either empieza, tengo tiempo, hasta luego, or el tiempo? Okay, very good. Empieza, it begins at that time. Okay. I've got a cat who keeps touching my keyboard, and the screen keeps jumping too. Okay, la clase de francés empieza a las 3:30 de la tarde y blank a las 4:30 de la tarde. So let's look at la clase de francés. Okay, what happens? Yes, termina, it ends at 4:30. Begins at 3:30, ends at 4:30. Cuando la clase termina, la maestra de química says, no, it should be el maestro because that's a guy. So, but when class ends, the chemistry teacher says what? Hasta mañana, see you tomorrow. That's right. La clase de física empieza a las 8. Luis Fernando is in front of la clase de física a las 7:50. Luis Fernando says, well, it could be estoy a tiempo, I'm on time, but he's 10 minutes early, so we don't have, yeah, that's the only one. We don't have the early one here. So you're right. Adios, Irene. Blank. I will see you tonight. Hasta luego, right. All right, now we're learning a little bit more about the schools in Spanish-speaking countries. We haven't gotten really into telling time yet, so that's on the horizon. Stay with me. Okay, we're learning about urban schools in Spanish-speaking countries. First, I want to look at the brown word, programas de tutoría, our tutoring programs. Entre would be between, okay? So urban schools look different from other schools in Spanish-speaking countries. It's common to have tutoring programs that are free of charge. And okay, you're gonna have to stay muted till I unmute you, please. And it's even more common in private schools, free tutoring. For example, in Costa Rica, some schools charge for tutoring. Okay, but in most Spanish-speaking countries, tutoring is free in urban schools. Now, urban means they're in a city. Okay, Lakeland is considered urban because we're not in the countryside. But if we were to go to say like, I'm having a hard time thinking of countryside, you know, where it's less populated. In Florida, there are some places like that. Okay, we have rural schools. We have rural schools in Spanish speaking countries too, much smaller. You see that the school is a little bit smaller than the top one. Okay, so rural schools, they don't have lockers. Some teachers provide tutoring individually or in a group, depends on the resources. Because the teachers don't always volunteer their time, they would get paid for that. Some schools have tutoring centers. And in Puerto Rico, there's also tutoring centers, but they're not free. So for example, in Lakeland, I know that there's a tutoring center that is not free. They base everything on a sliding scale, depending on how much your parents make. And you can get tutoring in various subjects. Okay, let's compare this with the United States. In the United States, when you go face-to-face, okay, you have a mixture between urban and rural schools. Depends. Most schools have tutoring programs. Some are free and some are not. For example, my grandkids go to the Boys and Girls Club after school, and they get free tutoring there. They don't have a lot of people there to work with them, so it's not like super intense tutoring situation, but it does help. Then there are some other after-school programs that are not free, but serve as just tutoring programs. And I've seen some of those at some of the schools. Most middle and high schools in the United States have lockers. And I know my daughter, she's a senior, she's about to graduate, and she's never taken advantage of any of the lockers. When she was in middle school, all the lockers were zip tied and they didn't let anybody use them. And then when in high school, she just like, I don't see the use of it. She just carries her stuff with her. So she doesn't need a locker. All right, we're gonna go over our numbers. You have a good idea of your numbers 1 through 20, but now we're gonna look at our numbers 20 through 60 by tens. And you're welcome to take a screenshot of this page to help you to memorize things. Or just go back over the lesson and use your guided notes. Okay, so 20 is 20. Usted tiene 20 años, you're 20 years old. 30, 30. Mi amiga tiene 30 lápices, my friend has 30 pencils. 40, 40. El salón de música es el número 40. The music class is number 40. 50, 50. Yo tengo 50 años, I'm 50 years old. 60, 60. Tú tienes 60 libros en inglés. You have 60 books in English. Okay. Any questions on these numbers? So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, let's come backwards. Ah. Okay. Nope. There. Okay. All right, we're going to break down our bigger numbers here. Okay, so we've got our base numbers 30, 40, 50, 60, and we're doing, those are the tens. Okay, but let's say we want the number 34, for example. Okay, so we start with 30, and then we add the letter Y, which is pronounced E, and then we add the number 4, which is cuatro. 30 y cuatro is 34. And when you get used to saying it faster, you would say 34. Okay, here's another one. 63. So we start with 60, 60. We add E, and then we add the number 3, tres. 63. 63, 63. So it's not too hard to make your numbers bigger numbers. You guys have any questions on this? Okay. So let's look at this a little bit, okay? So here's a clock. You gotta pretend you have a clock that reads 11:13, right? La clase de matemáticas empieza a las 11. Well, which phrase would make sense? It's 11:13. Your math class starts at 11. Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? Yes, Valeria says it's 4. Llegas tarde. You arrive late. Here's a clock that reads 4 o'clock. La clase de ciencias empieza a las 4:05. Which phrase would make sense? The fourth one again is estás a tiempo, you're on time. Here's a clock that reads 8. La clase de español del señor Cubero empieza a las 8:10. Which phrase would work? I want to see more than Valeria working on this because Valeria's working hard. Which phrase works, guys? You just type it in the chat box. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, if the clock says 8 and the class starts at 8:10, is it llega temprano, hasta mañana, hasta luego, or llega tarde? It's not hasta mañana, see you tomorrow, because we're talking about arrival time. It would be the first one, llega temprano, you're early. Here's the last one. 66. 66. Which one of these, 1, 2, 3, or 4, is 66 in Spanish? It's the third one, 66. All right, now we're going to learn the gist, or not the gist, the nuts and bolts of telling time in Spanish. Okay, so let's look first at our phrases that are ground. Todos los días means every day. Every day. ¿Qué hora es? Is a question. It's asking what time is it? And if someone asks you what time it is, you would say, well, let's see, it's 10:51, right? So in Spanish, if I would say, I would start with es or son, la or las plus time and a time frame. Now this looks really confusing, right? So we're going to look at the next page and go over some of that. Okay. So if someone asks you what time it is, es comes from the verb ser, which means it is, and you would only use it with the number 1. Like it's 1 in the morning or it's 1 in the afternoon. Okay. Son is used with 2 through 12, all the other numbers. Okay. Anything that's not 1. So if it's 1 o'clock, I'd say es la una. It is 1 o'clock. Notice we use la because 1 is singular, right? Just 1. It's all by itself. It's 1 o'clock. If it's 2 o'clock, I would say son las dos. It is 2. Son is plural because 2 is more than 1. Las is plural. And then dos. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay. There are some other phrases. Like if you want to say it's 6 on the dot, you'd say son las 6 en punto. Okay. That means it's not 6:01, it's just 6 straight up, straight down. Okay. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. You say son las 9 en punto. It's just 9. Okay, it's 9 on the dot. Now, when you get to half an hour, and you're going to want to do screenshots of this probably. When you get to half an hour, we use the word media, which means half. Okay, so if it's 1:30, I'd say es la una y media. It's 1:30. If I want to say it's 10:30, I'd say son las 10 y media. It's 10:30. Okay. Now, what about the quarter hour? Quarter hour is pronounced cuarto. It's now, do make note. Cuarto is the quarter hour. It's not 4. 4 is cuatro. So the T and the R would be reversed. Okay, for cuatro. CUATRO for cuatro. but for cuarto, the R comes first. Okay, make sure that you make note of that. So 5:15 is son las 5:15. It's 5:15. 1:15 would be es la 1:15. Okay. And then if it's noontime, we'd say es mediodía, it's noon. Midnight, es medianoche. You could say es el mediodía or es la medianoche, but it's not, the L and the la are not completely necessary. Yeah, if you guys have a meeting that you've got to go to, do me a quick, you know what, I'm going to take a picture of that note so that there's an erase, and then I can give you girls credit for being here today. Okay, oops. That brained my cat. Okay. All right. All right. So now I want you to take note of the clocks here. Okay, you see 12 through 6, and we're going on the right-hand side of the clock. Everything on the right-hand side of the clock, we're adding time. So, you know, 2:20, for example, would be son las 2:20. But when the big hand, which is the minute hand, gets between the 6 and the 12, we, in Spanish, look at what's the approaching hour. So like right now it's 10:56, okay? The approaching hour is 11, right? So I would say, if I was gonna say it's 10:56, I would say son las 11 menos 4. So it's 11 minus 4 minutes. So here's their examples here. This is, and if you don't know how to tell time with hands, I know that this makes it difficult. This is the hour, this is the minute. Big hand is a minute, small hand is an hour hand. Okay, but this is 11:45. So here, the approaching hour is 12. It says son las 12 menos cuarto. Telling time with menos, you're gonna need to know it. Okay, oops, sorry about that. Okay, here's another one. It's 12:45, but it's almost 1. So because it's almost 1, we'd say es la 1 menos cuarto. It's 1 minus 15 minutes. And now it's confusing. This is one of the most confusing things about telling time in Spanish for English speakers, because it's totally different from what we do in English. Okay. So if you got a screenshot, you can do it. Please do it for yourself. Okay. All right, here's another one. So little hand is between the 2 and the 3. So it's basically, it's almost 3 o'clock. Big hand is the minute hand, it's 10 minutes till 3. Okay, so it's 2:50. Son las 3 menos 10. So it's 3 o'clock, because it's the approaching hour, minus 10 minutes. Here's another one. Almost 1. It's 12:55. Oops. Es la 1 menos 5. It's 1 minus 5 minutes. You guys have questions about this? I'm sure you do, but don't be shy. Okay. By the way, for those of you who have to leave early, watch the recording so you can see the part about the Day of the Dead. Okay. All right. ¿A qué hora termina la clase de historia? At what time does history class finish? You notice
It's my.
when we first had the question, ¿qué hora es? We were asking what time is it? But this is saying, at what time does this thing happen? At what time does history class end? Here's the other one. ¿A qué hora es la fiesta de la quinceañera? At what time is the 15th birthday party? So, ¿qué hora es? Without the a, it's just asking what time. But ¿a qué hora is asking at what time does this happen? So, here's another question. ¿A qué hora es la clase de español? At what time is Spanish class? And then you'd say, es, it is, a la 1. It's at 1. Okay, if you just say es la una, then you're saying it's 1 o'clock. But if you say es a la una, you're saying it's at 1 o'clock. Any questions about this? See a lot of people leaving. Okay, let's try some of these. Help you guys with your time. Okay. Son las 10:05. I'll help you with this first one. It's 10 minus 5 minutes. Okay, bye, Annika. It's 10 minus 5 minutes. So when we say 10, 10 is the approaching hour. It's not yet 10. And you're digital. Yes, Claudia, that's right. 9:55. Son las 10:05. Very good. All right, let's look at the second one. Son las 12:45. So it's 12 minus 15 minutes. Valeria, you got it, 11:45, okay? Let's do the third one. Son las 9:10 de la noche. It's 9 minus 10 minutes at night. Number 9 is the approaching hour. But it digitally it wouldn't be there. Yes, 8:50, that's right. There's another one. Son las 3:10 de la tarde. It's 3 minus 10 minutes in the afternoon. The first one, 2:50, okay? Es la 1:05 de la tarde. It's 1 minus 5 minutes in the afternoon. It's the second one, 12:55. You guys, if you feel like you're starting to get this a little bit, it takes a lot of practice to get this. I mean, because it just goes totally opposite to what we're used to in English. Okay. También se dice, and other ways to say things, right? All right, so you need to know, or just here's you know, the numbers 30, 40, y 50. These are your number-based telling time. Oops, sorry, let's go back here. Okay, so remember how before, if the big hand was between the 6 and the 12, we were using menos. And you do need to know it because you will be asked about it on your DBA. But these are other ways to tell time. Okay, here what they're saying, son las 8:35. So it's 8:35 because it's 35 minutes after 8. You can say this in Spanish and get away with it. But I'm telling you, if you don't want to know your numbers all the way up through 59, telling time, it's easier the other way. Son las 8:35, it's 8:35. Here's another one. Son las 10:45. It's 10:45. You can do it this way. Son las 6:55. It's 6:55. I'm sorry, son las 7:55. It's 7:55, almost 8. You can do it this way, or you can use menos. But you need to know menos, because I will ask you about it. All right. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how we write things out, saying morning, afternoon, evening. Okay. So when we start out, we've been using a 12-hour clock all this way, and our numbers are 1 through 12 for the hours, right? Okay, and if it's 1 o'clock, we would say es la and give the time. If it was 2 through 12, we use son las and give the time. So it is es la or son las plus the hour plus and, which is E, plus the minutes, 0 through 59. And then day means of, and then whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. So morning is de la mañana, afternoon is de la tarde, evening is de la noche. Keep in mind that we use the word day because that means of, okay? We don't use in. So here's an example on the bottom here. 210 would say son las dos y diez de la tarde. It's 2 in the afternoon. Any questions on this one? Well, I don't know why this Zoom kicks people out sometimes. It could be what you call it, an internet situation at your house may have just fluctuated a little. Can happen. It's happened to me before. Okay, here's some other examples. 1:59 a.m. We would say es la 1:59 de la mañana. It's 1:59 in the morning. Now, using menos, we could say son las 2:01 de la mañana. That would be another way. 5:03 p.m. Son las 5:03 de la tarde. It's 5:03 in the afternoon. I will say this, even though AM and PM are written down sometimes in Spanish, it is better to use the morning, afternoon, and evening phrases. Okay, especially in your writing, to me, like your 203 quiz, it's going to ask you for a time. Please use the time, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. Don't use AM or PM. Okay. Son las 9:05 de la noche. It is 8. What is this? This is no 9 is 9. That's it's 9:05 at night. They goofed. That's ocho. Son las 8:05 de la noche. Maybe sometimes these people put this together, they don't double check. Okay. Now, why do we use una instead of uno when we're telling time, or la hora? And the reason is because time is feminine in Spanish. Okay, so here's some questions. ¿Qué hora es? Asking what time it is. ¿A qué hora es la clase de biología? At what time is biology class? And then you want to know the phrases. En la mañana in the morning, en la tarde in the afternoon, en la noche at night. Now, notice we've got en here instead of day. So that is, it's when it's more specific. So it says, we'll have some examples here. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Here are the other expressions you've learned. En punto, on the dot. Son las 5 en punto, it's 5 on the dot. Cuarto is a quarter of an hour. Son las 12:15, 2:15. Media, which is a half hour. Son las 2:30, it's 2:30. So literally it's 2.5. The word menos, again, we use that to subtract time. Okay, when the 6 begins between the 6 and the 12 on the left-hand side of the clock, that's when we're taking time away. You don't have to do it that way, but you need to know it. Okay. Okay. 24-hour clock. We're almost to the end of lesson 203. I know this is, oh goodness. Look. Okay, 24-hour clock is military time. How many of you are familiar with military time? You can just raise your hand. Okay, yeah, a little bit. Okay, I have trouble myself with military time or the 24-hour clock. I have to think a little bit. Okay, oh, it's 15. Well, let's see, you know, feeling my fingers. What time is it? That's okay. Yes, Diana, you had a question?
Well, no, I actually had, my mom had actually told me all about military time because her family is from the military. And she basically told me that an easy way of finding out what time it is like when there's like 13 or 15 o'clock, just subtract that number from 2, like 5 minus 2. And you can find the answer by doing that, and you just take away the 1.
Good idea. Good idea. Okay, so we're gonna look at this here. Okay, when we tell time. Oops. This is okay. When we tell time with a 24-hour clock in Spanish, if it's 1 a.m. only for 1 a.m. we'd say es la una, and that's it. Okay, but if it's 2 through 24 hours, we begin with son las and the hour, and then we end with horas. We don't say morning, afternoon, or evening phrases. Okay. So if it's 5 a.m., I'd say son las 5 horas. If it was 5 p.m., I would say son las 17 horas. Does that make sense? Remember that you're using the word horas when you use the 24-hour clock, and these are the hours that match up. And you may want to take a screenshot of this so that you can have it. Boom, it's easy to refer to, or you can just put it down in your notes. Any questions on this? Okay. So the only assignment you have for lesson 203 is a quiz. But as I told you before, your DBA 206 for module 2 is going to come almost entirely from this lesson, from lesson 203. So take your notes, review the video before you do the DBA, and, just really keep in mind, this is, DBA, we're going to cover telling time, both the 12-hour clock, the 24-hour clock, using Minos, using E. We're going to be going over it all. And you got to tell me about schools in Spanish-speaking countries and have some real good information about that. Okay. All right. Now, I want to play a little bit of music for you guys before we get started. Okay, sorry. Mariachi music had decided to disappear on me. All right, let's just put this one. Gotta get in the mood. And that's about it. Okay. All right, Day of the Dead. So Day of the Dead is, it's very different from Halloween. And I know some people don't celebrate holidays or Halloween or anything like that, and that's fine. If this part of the lesson makes you feel weird, you don't have to stay for it, or you could stay for it just to understand other people's culture. Okay, so the Day of the Dead is celebrated on 2 days, actually, November 1st and November 2nd. In central and southern Mexico, mostly. It's not the same as Halloween. It does coincide with the Catholic holidays of All Souls Day and All Saints Day. And then in Mexico, a lot of the indigenous beliefs became combined over time with the Catholic traditions. So that's why it's so distinct from what you might see in Europe. Okay, so in Spanish-speaking people in Mexico in particular believe that on October 31st at midnight, the gates of heaven open up so that the spirits of the deceased children, angelitos, can be reunited with their families for 24 hours. This is a very tender time, really, for families who have lost children. It's a time of comfort. Now, there was a movie that Disney put out recently about Day of the Dead. You guys remember what that was? No? Well, we'll talk about it later. That was a very well done one, and helps you understand things. It's a little Disney-fied, but still. November 2nd is when the spirits of the adults return to enjoy the festivities prepared for them. So people do believe that the spirits of the dead do come back to visit. Very few people are here, but well, you guys can always watch the recording. Ofrendas. This is kind of fun. The ofrendas. You may have seen this. The Polk Museum of Art about 10 years ago, they had a big display about Day of the Dead, and they had lots of ofrendas and lots of artwork. This purple stuff here is called papel picado. Let me try this again. This is it's very fancy designed paper. People will hang that around their house or around the ofrenda. The ofrenda is basically to honor ancestors, those people that have passed on. Decorations, they've got candles, marigolds, skeletons, sugar skulls, toys for the angelitos. They have an arch always of some part. You can see they kind of got the little crepe paper making an arch there. It's supposed to be the archway of heaven. Foods and drinks, they put fruit, peanuts, mole, tortillas, pan de muerto, soda, hot chocolate, water, candy for the angelitos, cigarettes and shots of mezcal for the adults on November 2nd. And the reason for this is they believe that happy spirits will provide protection for the family. They'll also give good luck, wisdom, and keep the family close. Okay. Sorry, that was again here. All right. October 31st through November 1st, many people will give a vigil all night long, waiting for the angelitos to visit their family. So you can see these people are in the graveyard. They've got flowers, they're there, they might play cards, they might, or just reminisce about those people that have passed. November 2nd, they will often clean the gravestones and tombs. That seems to be like a thing. If you look on the internet these days, you'll see people who voluntarily go out to graveyards and clean tombstones that have been, just really decayed and stuff. So these people make it an annual thing. They'll play cards, listen to a village band, reminisce about the loved ones that have passed. Okay, now there's food involved, always food with a lot of festivities. Zacahuil is a large tamal wrapped in banana leaves and cooked in a homemade outdoor adobe oven, and it can serve up to 100 people. So have you ever eaten a tamale? Okay, when I grew up, I grew up in California, and I was under the impression that a tamale came in a can. That's how we ate them. And then my mom learned how to make real tamales, and they were huge, and more than one person could eat, and those were so much better. But a tamal like this, or zacahuil, is as they say, can feed up to 100 people. Talking like the large turkey of things, like Thanksgiving, but not. Candy sugar skulls. These are made of artisanal sugar, and some are made of chocolate. You can eat these. There's a festival in Alfeneque, La Feria de Alfeneque in Nipatec, Mexico. And they have many types of sugar skulls and they're displayed and sold. They even have contests to judge which ones are the best sugar skulls. Now, a lot of people are really weirded out by the skulls, but the skulls represent departed souls and will often have the name of the departed person written on the forehead of the skull, then placed on the ofrenda or the gravestone. This is more of a cultural thing than religious. It's not meant to be scary. I know some of them do look a little frightening, but they're for for fun. I actually, one year when we used to meet face to face for this lesson, and I'd have candy from Mexico and stuff like that, and I made several of these skulls. You can get like the little plastic skull over at Dollar Tree, and so I painted a few and decorated them. Had a lot of fun. Okay, so in all, Day of the Dead is a way to remember those people that have passed on, and involves a bit of family history because you've got people reminiscing, and they're putting pictures of those people that have passed on their little ofrendas. And keep in mind that this is cultural. Everybody has a way that they remember those that have passed on. I'm sure that in your families, you have a way to remember those people that have passed on as well. All right. So I told you this is a short lesson. But we have a different way to do collaboration on this. If you haven't yet done collaboration, I'm going to, let's see, okay, sorry. Okay. Let's try this again. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to get this link here and go back to, okay. This is what the link is. I'm going to send this to everybody here in the chat. Okay, so yes, there is a survey that you can fill out. This is what the survey looks like. Okay, and this is 2 parts that you have to do for this collaboration. So you're going to fill out the survey by this coming Sunday before Halloween. Okay, and you also need to write me a short paragraph telling me what did you learn about Day of the Dead today, and then just submit it for grading. So 2 things, and I get a readout on who's done the survey. So if you haven't done the survey, I'll check when you turn in your collaboration. You've got your little paragraph. I will check and see if you've done the survey, and if you haven't, I'll say, hey, I don't see you having done the survey. Here's the link so you can do it. Okay, but you have till Sunday to get this done. After that, we don't do the collaboration for this particular lesson just because, you know, we go on into November and other things. Okay. You guys have any questions about this? Anything you'd like to know by the end of it? All right. There's not very many of you here that stayed, and unfortunately, I didn't take pictures of those people that were here for the whole thing. So that's kind of, yeah. Try to go through the chat here. You guys have any questions about lessons 203 or 202? No? Okay. I'm just gonna try to catch those who are participating in the chat, but that's not everybody who was here. So a lot of people did not stay. And what I do when the reason I take these pictures is I go to my little list of students and I will log that you actually attended a live lesson and that you were here. So all of you that are here, 5 of you, will definitely get credit in my book for having been here. You guys have any questions at all? If you don't, go ahead, you can log out and then I will see you next week. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Hi.
I'm sorry, Rosalie, did you have a question, or Caleb or Chloe? No, okay, sorry, I'm just taking pictures of the chat here so I can not miss anybody. Caleb, Chloe, we all good? You can unmute if you have a question. Anything that you need?
I have a question.
Yes, Chloe.
Is the collaboration required to do?
No, nobody is required to do the collaboration. The only reason I push it each time is that it's worth 40 points. So let's say you have a C in the class and you'd like to have a B. If you get those 40 points, it could possibly be the thing that would push you up to a B. That makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah, so that's why I say it's a good thing to do it if you can. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Oh, and the name of the movie was Coco. I couldn't, for some reason, I was having trouble remembering. All right, I'm going to go ahead and log out myself.